Hey, this is Harold. I'm out here this morning, and what you're looking at here is my Bloom Chaos. Now, I've got a gallon of this, but this is my transport bottle that I use when I'm out here in my garden area. I keep over here with all my nutrients and everything. But, I've heard some people talk about not having production or their plants are not flowering up. Well, okay, so I do a spray with this. I use calcium, usually a Cal Mag or my calcium syrup with this, and the proper doses. And actually, I push it up a little bit when I'm using my Bloom Chaos, just because of the calcium uptake. And if you know that calcium is going to help push your flowering, and like this one here, you see all those flowers. Man, that's like, look at all those, that's ridiculous flowers on this thing, all over it, and it's also all podded up too. Look at that, there's pods everywhere, and it's still just pounding out flowers. And this has been getting foliar sprayed. I spray it about every 2 weeks with a dose of the uh, with my dose of my Bloom Chaos from Nectar for the Gods, and then also with the Cal Mag or the calcium syrup. Been using a calcium syrup lately to really up the dose. This one here I'm bringing you over to show you. I want to show you, this is a Reaper plant. And I've heard people say, I'm not getting much production out of my Reaper. Look at the flowers all over that thing. This thing is covered in flowers, all right? And look at this, pod production all in there. Look at that. Look at all those pods too. On top of all the flowers you see, it's pods. Man, you know what? It ain't no secret. I've been advertising this for a while, over the last 2 years since I started using Nectar for the Gods. And yes, I do use my teas, but when it comes to really pumping out the production and everything, look at this. This is another one. This is a Apocalypse Scorpion, covered in flowers. Look at that, and potted up. I have no problem with flower production on my plants right now. Here's this one. You guys have seen this before. This is my gourmet jigsaw. It's still, look at that, it's still getting flowers because I just sprayed, but I mean, still spray it. And now look at that, all those flowers, but all of those pods too. Just a crazy, ridiculous amount of pods all over this thing. All right, this one is my Nagla Beast. I started spraying it here recently because it's big enough to where I got to push. And look at that, you see the flowering started up. You see the little buds coming up for the flowers. There's flowers in here. Look at that, flowered up. Even this little one, because I'm pushing it because it's getting close to the end of the season. Look at that, it's going to be podding up. This over here, my Kraken Scorpion. I started spraying it. Blowing, there are little buds everywhere, and in fact, I remember right, yeah, you see that one already flowered, and it's starting to produce a pod right now. That's the thing, it's flowering up and they're sticking. There's one right in there that's sticking, Look at this thing, that's super chilly. It's got so many, and it's still pumping. Look at that, it's still putting out flowers, but it's got so many pods on it that it's laid down, it's laid over. It's just too heavy with pods to even sustain anymore, so it flopped over, and it's just still loaded up. Even my giant red Ricotta, I spray it. You can see there's pods everywhere on this thing, and it's still flowering up, all over it. So, and these get sprayed too, and it's loaded up. This is my cayenne. It's got cayenne peppers all over it. My Thai dragon. There's still flowers on it, but it's all loaded up with little Thai chilies. I mean, I don't know what more to say. People, I hear them say, oh, use this, use that. Do it. Use whatever you want. I'm just telling you Look at that, flower still on this one. This is back to my gourmet jigsaw. All of those pods on here, and it's still pumping out flowers because it's going to put out more, because the calcium uptake when you use the Bloom Kaos, it more than doubles the uptake of your calcium that your plant can uptake. Well, when that happens, when you increase the uptake of the calcium and the other nutrients that your plant's taking, what you end up doing is getting just this mass amount of flowering and the bloomage, and that's what you're looking for, you know. And I tell you what, if you want to increase, if you guys are having trouble with your plants flowering up, I'm telling you, this is a foliar spray. I use this sprayer right here. Oh yeah, see, I got it in there. That's mixed with the calcium syrup right now, and I just got done feeding these boogers. I just got done feeding these things, and they're loving it, man. I don't know how else to put it. You know, yeah, there's lots of natural things you can do, but this is natural. One thing you need to know is that Nectar for the Gods is an organic company. They make their stuff organic. That's why I can use it. Here's Ron Elkins, well, these two here from Jim Duffy. These are my Naga Morches, but then down here, look at all the flowers. I'm sure you can see them in there. And this one's already, these are the my Ron Elkins ghost peppers. They're podding up already. They're flowering up like crazy. It's hard to see in there, but you know, in here, if you look inside, look at all the flowers coming in. Yeah, all flowered up. Look at, there's a little pod coming in. My first pods on my Ron Elkins strain. I call it, it's a ghost pepper, but it's comes from Ron Elkins, who is probably the purest ghost pepper grower around. So, but yeah, you know, and so that's what I tell you. You know what? I keep preaching it. I'm preaching it and preaching it, but you know, you get with him. Scott Ostrander, he's the developer of this, and I'll tell you, it's pretty much the flagship of their product line, and it's an amazing thing you're going to find out. Is it pricey? Yeah, it's a little pricey, but you know, a quart is like, I think it's around $20. I think if you go through monstergardens.com, you can get it for about $20 a quart. And I'll tell you what, you know, your production levels, you know, even look at this one. This is my Trinidad Scorpion, all potted up, flowered up. You know, got a lot of pods all over it, and it's potted up. And this one over here, I started spraying it now because it was big enough, and getting some gnarly pods, and it's starting to really pick up on the flowering now. Look at that, all of those flowers are coming on, and the thing about it is they're going to stick. They always do. I've not had a problem with them not sticking, but you know, couple that with the nutrients that I'm giving them, my worm compost tea, Texas tomato food, things like that. But this is what I get. This is what I use to push out the flowering, to push out pod production. I would say that I double my production by using it. So you be the judge of that. I'm probably going to have a record year for these plants, you know, individual plants and how they're producing. So I mean, I'm just trying to get the word out there. If you guys want to know a way to increase your yields, your production, if you're good with what you have right now, stick with it. If you're having troubles with what you're doing right now, that's my solution to you, and it works. That's all I'm going to say is it works. If there's one thing you buy from Nectar for the Gods, buy that Bloom Kaos and see what happens to your production and your yield and how your plant's taking in. All right, well, this is Harold, and I'm out of here. I'm going to let you go. You guys have a good growing season.